Hello everybody and welcome back to another Atris Studios tutorial. Now today, I know it's been a minute, but we're going to actually start working on our spawner script. Now, typically I took a little bit of time to reset up our environment because the old environment was a little bit janky with all the polygons going on and me having such a crap computer and all. So I went ahead and just readjusted everything, made everything look nice and pretty, you know how it is. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so the first thing that we need to do when it comes down to creating spawners is we need to create one specific object that stays inside of the environment, the hierarchy, if you could say. So we're going to come over to the hierarchy, we're going to create a simple empty game object, and this game object is going to be called Game Manager. So we're just going to call it Game Manager, like so. I like to put the game manager at the very top of the sample scene or the scene that we're in typically because it allows us to be able to instantly find it without having to worry about anything. We're also going to reset the position, so make sure we go over to the transform, hit reset. We don't really need the transform per se, but I just like being able to have it there just because. Alright, so the next thing we need to do is come over to our scripts folder and we're going to create a brand new folder. So create a folder and we're going to call this manager. Or let's call it managers. So we're going to go inside here and we need to be able to create a spawn script. But I think that we should create one specific game manager script for all of this stuff so we can take care of the rounds and the spawning simultaneously. So let's go and do that. We're going to go over to create C# script and we're going to just call it game manager like so. So once that's created, we're going to open up our visual editor and we're going to put in a couple things. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up, allow it to update, and yeah. So the idea behind what we're going to do here is we need to be able to have a set amount of zombies that could spawn per round. That's going to be your number one because that's a performance issue. Number two, we want to be able to spawn these objects at random points inside the world. So we need to make sure that we do that as well. And number three, we need to make sure that the zombies deal more damage or have more health every single time that the round starts. So let's go ahead and do that. I don't know why we have all this extra stuff, but whatever. So open up the game manager script right here and we're going to erase all that. So we need an object that we can spawn, right? So we're going to create a public game object and we're going to call this object underscore prefab, or we'll call it zombie prefab. How about that? So zombie prefab like so. And then let's go ahead and put a space in between here so we can keep it organized. And we're going to create our max spawns per round. So we're going to create first an integer. So we can make this a private, public. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to serialize it anyway, so that way we can see it as a private. And we're going to create this as an int, and we're going to call it round. So round is going to be equal to wave 1. Or actually, let's go and call it wave. How about that? Wave 1. So that's going to be the round that we're going to start on. The next thing that we need to do is we need to have like a current spawn. Like actually, we can do this as a hard code for now, and if you want to change it later on, you can. So yeah. All right. Let's create. I don't want to do that. Let's create a header here, and we're going to put zombie settings right here. In that case, we're actually going to take this right here, Control X that, go ahead and erase that space there because we don't need that. Put that in there like so, and then we're going to do a serialized field, and we'll make this a private int called max spawned. Yeah, max spawned, and we're going to put a tooltip next to this one as well because we want to be able to make sure that we know exactly what this is for. So let's do this. We're going to say that max spawned in level at a time. And then we'll put like in parentheses for performance, like so. All right, so now since we have that done, let's go ahead and set up the spawn. Now, I would advise first off to add in a object pooling method to be able to recycle your zombies, but we're not going to do that today because it's going to take a little bit too much time, and I want to be able to make this tutorial nice and simple. So let's create a, what do we want to do here? Let's do a public int, and maybe not even a public int. Well, yeah, let's do a public int called remove zombie. So on zombie death, how about that? On zombie death, like so. So on this public int, actually let's do it on void, and that way we don't really return a value. We're going to remove the current amount of zombies that are inside the level. So let's create just a int. Now this is just going to be a private int. We don't really care so much about it, you know, being visible. And we're going to just say cur zombies spawned. How about that? So that's going to equal 0 starting out because obviously there's going to be 0 zombies spawned. So on zombies death, we're going to say cur zombies spawned minus minus, which will remove 1 zombie from the current zombie spawned. So that will give us the ability to do that. And I'm not going to do anything there, okay? So then we're going to create a public void. And technically we can make these private because they are all going to be called from the game manager and not necessarily from any other script. So we're going to call private void spawn zombie, like so. And for this spawning point, what we want to do is we want to say, okay, so we need to first instantiate the game object, right? So let's do that first. So we're going to create a game object called spawn, and this is going to be equal to an instantiate. We're going to put in our prefab, so underscore zombie prefab, and as game object, like so. So this allows us to be able to spawn the object. Now we need to be able to set the locations that the zombies can spawn. So let's come up here and let's create another header at the top, like so. And we're going to say, let's do this, spawn settings. So spawn settings. Now inside the spawn settings, we just need a public array of transforms. So public transforms, and that's definitely not transform. And we're going to put this as an array, and we're going to say that this is going to be spawners, right? So now we have a list of spawners that we can be able to spawn at. We need to create a private int, and we're going to say cur spawner, or selected spawner. How about that? Selected spawner. There we go. Okay, so whenever we spawn the zombie, we need to first figure out as well what sort of spawner we're going to be moving to. So we're going to do selected spawner is equal to a random, or let's do mathf.random. How about that? No, it's not really a mathf. Yeah, it's not really a mathf because it's just random. Yeah, let's do random dot range, and we're going to do this between let's do 0 and spawners dot length minus 1, like so, and that should be fine. Now whenever we start this game though, what's going to happen is that if we don't have anything set up for our spawners, it's going to give us an error, right? So we need to make sure that we avoid that by calling out that error whenever the editor starts. So let's create a void awake. So whenever this code is spawned, what we're going to do is we're going to say, we're first going to check and see if this object exists or these objects exist. So we're going to say if spawners dot length is less than or equal to 0. Technically it can't be less than, but if it's equal to 0, and then we're going to do a debug dot error message, so log error, and we're going to say spawners not what's the word I'm looking for? Spawner's not set. How about that? And we'll put some exclamation marks inside there. You know, it's very, very important. Okay, so that takes care of the issue that we would have if our spawners are not there and will not allow us to start the game. Okay. And actually, we could do sort of like a pause in a way. Yeah, we'll just do a log error. Yeah, that should be fine. Okay, so from there, we now selected the spawner, or the random spawner. So we now need to be able to set the location. So I'm going to say get random point, like so, spawn object. Then we need to set the location, so set location. And we're going to say spawn is equal to our new location, or so we're going to say spawn.transform.position is equal to, let's go our spawners, so spawners, and we're going to set the array to selected spawner, like so, dot position, like so. So now we set the position for the AI, which is great. I think that should be fine for now. We did not set the health though, and the damage, but we can worry about that in a minute. So let's also do this right here. So we're going to press enter a couple times, set health and damage here. And then we're going to say debug. Actually, we'll just do print health and damage not set yet. It's going to give us a lot of those because how we're going to be spawning a certain amount. So yeah. Okay. So on zombie death, we also need to make sure that if this is equal to less than 0, so if cur zombie spawned is less than or equal to 0, then we're going to do next wave. So let's do let's actually make that private. So we'll do private set next wave, like so. And this is also a void, and we're just going to do set next wave. And let's also do this right here. And we want to be able to return after this because we don't want it to do anything. So return right there. And then we'll do else, put that like so. There we go. I think that should work. Okay. All right, it's a lot, it's a lot. Okay, so we now have it set to where we spawn our zombies. Great. Whenever the zombies die, we're going to trigger this on zombie death, which we'll have to get to the stats controller and make sure that we plug that into the AI. So yeah, let's see, what else do we need here? So run wave, so on start, so we're going to do void on start, or start. And let's do a public void. Actually, no, we can just run this off a set next wave. Or let's do begin wave. So begin new wave. So Control C and then just change this one here. Boom. Okay. So on begin new wave, we need to first take into account the round that we're in. So we're going to say that our, let's see, we want to be able to spawn a certain amount of zombies in. So let's see, how would we want to do that? So this is the max spawned at a time. And we want to do X amount per wave. So we'll say that we want to spawn X. Okay, so we'll create a private int. And we're going to call this wave size. So the wave size is going to be the amount of zombies that are supposed to exist. So we're going to say round multiplied by our, let's say multiplied by 10. No, multiplied by 5. 5 should be fine. So every single wave is going to be about 5 multiplied by whatever. So that should be plenty good. Okay, so we're going to come over here and basically on begin new wave, we're going to set the cur zombie spawned. So cur zombie spawned is going to be equal to, actually it should have already equal to 0. So we need to say zombies to spawn. So private int zombies to spawn. Spawn. Like so. So we're going to say zombies to spawn is equal to wave size multiplied by our wave, right? So round multiplied by 5. So actually, you know what? We're going to erase that. Yeah. And then we'll just put 5 here. Yeah, 5 multiplied. So zombies to spawn. We're going to set that there. So that's our list. Then we need to do this. So we also need to make sure that cur zombie spawn is equal to 0. That should already be equal to 0, but we're going to go ahead and make sure that is equal to 0 automatically. Okay, and then we're going to invoke new spawn or spawn zombie. How about that? And we're going to do 0.25f. Actually, let's go 0.05. That should be fine. So under spawn zombies, we're going to then do if, let's come up here. So cur zombie spawns plus equals 1 whenever we do this. So cur zombie spawn plus plus. And then we're going to say if cur zombies is greater than or equal to our max spawned minus 1. Then we're going to return. Or actually, no, we don't want to return because we want to do the re-invoke here. So if it's less than, yeah, if it's less than max spawn. So let's actually erase that. If it's less than that, then we're going to say invoke, and we're going to do the same thing that we did here. So we're just going to re-invoke the same method. Okay, that should be fine. So it should keep on spawning them until cur zombie spawned is equivalent to our max spawned. So that should be fine there. Then we're going to say on zombie death, we're going to do if, oh, and we also need to subtract the zombies to spawn right here as well. So zombies to spawn minus minus. So that will remove one from the list that needs to spawn, add it to the zombies that are spawned. Then we're going to come over here on here, and we're going to say if zombies to spawn is greater than 0, then we're going to invoke the same method. So just copy and paste like so. And in fact, actually, we don't need to invoke, we just need to call it. So we could just say spawn zombies. let's just do that. So Control Z, Control V, and then Control V. Okay. So on start, we're going to say begin next new wave, like so. And that all should work. Okay. Hopefully everything works great and we don't deal with any issues. If it doesn't, then, you know, we're just going to have to go find out why it didn't work. Which I'm pretty sure it's going to work. But we'll see. We'll see. You know how it always goes with live dev. It's fun. Okay. So let's go and grab our game manager and go ahead and drop this on there. As you can see, we have our wave set up. We have our spawner set up, which the spawner doesn't have anything inside there, but that's okay. Go over to our prefabs, grab our zombie, throw them inside there like so. We're going to say max spawn is going to be 10 at a time for now. I also want to put this in debug mode so I can actually see all the fun looking stuff here, like the zombies to spawn and the current zombies spawned. Let's also grab our current zombie wherever it is. Yeah, there it is. Go ahead and get rid of that, like so. I'm going to hit Control S for now, and let's go ahead and set up our spawners. So spawners are simply just objects that we're going to be placing inside the scene, and I don't know why it's doing that. It's probably because I'm recording at the same time, but let's just set up our spawners somewhere over here. Yeah, let's just put our spawner somewhere right in front of the player. So we're going to create an empty game object. Open up our transform. Actually, I'm going to take this out and put it back into normal so I can see. And we're going to set this on 0 on the Y. Yeah, that should be fine. Go ahead and pull it over a little bit, pull it over, and we're just going to call this the spawner. And actually, let's go and reset this one real fast. Call this spawners. Spawners. Like so. Create an empty game object. And let's just drag this here, drag it over here. Oh, I'm in the wall. Yeah, I thought I was, but I had to make sure. And then we'll just take this on the Z axis and we're just gonna bring it over here a little bit like so. And let's just drag it over here like that. That way we know for a fact that it's spawning inside 2 different areas. And let's go ahead and rename both of those spawners. Like so. Grab our game manager and we're going to hit the lock key. Go and grab both of those and drag those into the spawner group right here. Okay, here goes nothing. Gonna hit Control S. I'm gonna grab the game view so it's down here. And then I'm gonna hit the play button so I can visually see it inside the scene editor. So what we want is 10 zombies to spawn at a time. And I also need to make sure I put this in debug view. Alright, so I see 1 zombie spawning. Zombies to spawn is at a -5, which means that we have too many zombies spawning. And then current zombie spawn is 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, good. But they're all not chasing after the player. So let's see what's going on with them. So let's take off this lock key. And let's also put this on normal mode. Okay, so they don't have anything on them. Hold on. Oh, I think I put the wrong prefab. Assets, prefabs. No, I did put, okay. I think I forgot the, I think I forgot to put the one thing on there. Okay, hold on, let me see if I could go back and, before I deleted the zombie inside there. There we go. Okay. Whew, that was close. Because I'm pretty sure this, yeah, I forgot to override the prefab. Look at all that. Oh my god. That would have been bad. Okay. So the zombie now has, we already put it back as other. Great. So let's go redo exactly what we did beforehand. And reset this position. Call it plus spawners. Like so. create a empty game object, drag it over here. Oh, no. That's fine there. Control D. Drag it over here, drag it over here. That's fine there. Rename it again. Whew, okay. Grab our game manager, reset the position, add our game manager script here. Lock it in place. Grab our spawners. Throw them inside there like so. Find the prefabs, throw those there. Max spawned is 10. Hit play. And hopefully it all works out great. So what we should see, okay, so a lot of them all spawned in one spot, which is not the best thing in the world. All right, so let's take a look at our debug. And we're still set to zombies to spawn is at -5, which means we had too many spawn at a time. Let's try to get rid of a couple of these zombies. So I'm going to move over this way. I feel like they're not dying now. Okay, there's one that's dead. All right, so one thing that we didn't do here is whenever we go to the stat script, we didn't actually trigger the game manager to reset it, right? So let's create a singleton real fast. So we're going to create a public static game manager script. And we're going to call this instance. Go over to our awake function, and we're going to say instance is equal to this, like so. Then we're going to go over to our stats script, and we need to first make sure that if on death. So we're going to press enter a couple times, and we're going to say if, I believe I had a variable for is player, yep. If not is player, then we're going to say game manager dot instance dot zombie on zombie death, like so, which will then remove the death state. Okay, so that should be fine. I did find that this was an issue with how fast the zombies were spawning, which is the reason why I wanted to use an invoke. The problem with the invoke is that if it's still invoking, then it will reset on the invoke, but we might have to do the invoke method anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. So invoke, and we're going to do the zombie spawn, and delete those two, 0.05f, and we're just going to copy this and we're going to paste that inside there. And hopefully everything else works without any form of hitches, but I think that this would be the best way to do it right now. So we have that, and we have that. Okay, so let's head back over into Unity. I think we need to add a couple more spawners because normally what's going to happen is that if you have only 2 spawners, it's going to be going between 0 and 1, which means that most likely all of them are going to be spawning at that one spawner, and we're going to have a big issue with that. I also need to change how big the player's sphere collider is because it definitely is way too big. So let's put that back to normal, and let's just drop the radius down to a 0.6. Yeah, that should be fine. All right, so let's just duplicate these spawners real fast. So boom, boom, boom. So Control D, let's just pull this over here. And let's grab this one, Control D. We're gonna pull this one right over here. Okay, so that should be plenty of spawning points. So let's grab our game manager, and we're just gonna lock that again. Grab both of those. No, just both of those, and then just add those to the spawners as well. Alright, so now we got 4 different spawn points, so let's see if they actually will spawn at those points. Hit Control S, and now we're going to hit play. Cross your fingers. Now, if the zombies die, we want them to set this again, so I also need to make sure that I put this in debug mode as well. So let's do that. Okay, good, they did spawn in different points, which is great. Let's run over this way. Oh, it's glitching out on me. I need to actually give this more damage because it looks like the yeah, alright, so let me do this right here real fast. I'm going to grab my player, put this back in normal view so I can say what is the damage on this weapon. Let's put our damage at 100 for testing purposes. You know, testing purposes. And now, let's come back over here, grab our game manager. We're going to select this, put it back in debug view. And what we're trying to figure out is if everything's running correctly. So it says current zombie spawn is 8, which means that it did not spawn any new ones, but that's sort of okay because the wave is only number 5 if I'm correct. So current zombie spawn is at 9, good. Okay, good. So it doesn't look like it's spawning any more zombies. It did just spawn more zombies though. So it seems to reset is what it is. Like whenever the zombies to spawn whenever the zombies to spawn reaches 0, it tends to reset. So we need to figure out why. So on zombies death, we're going to do the zombie spawn, which is then invokes that. But we also need to make sure that, right here. Okay. So first things first, let's do this. If, just like we did down here, so if cur zombies is less than max spawned, then we're gonna do that. Hold on. Yeah, if it's greater than 0, then we're going to spawn. That's good. And then if cur zombies is less than max spawned, and zombies to spawn is greater than 0. That might be where our issue is. Yeah, I think that should be fine. Okay, and I'm going to drop the amount of max spawn to about, let's do 5. That way we can visually see that there's only 5 zombies that are spawning at a time, and hopefully that'll work. So we're going to hit that real fast. Put that at 5, and we're going to hit play. And let's see what happens. So as you can see, there's just a lot of things that we got to take into account. All right, so it says current zombie spawn is 5. That's good. I forgot to readjust my damage. All right, we're going to hit play again. All right, we're going to go back here so I can adjust the player damage because I like to be able to kill them instantly. It's fun. All right, so let's hit play again, and let's make sure everything's working the way we want it to work. So what should happen is that if it reaches 0 on the current zombie spawn, zombies to spawn, then it should be 0 completely. All right, so it did spawn some new ones, which is not good. Okay, so current zombies to spawn is 0. And then once I kill the last one, then it spawns new ones. Okay, so let's come back over here. So begin wave is only called once, so that's good. Then we come over here. So, oh, we had begin new wave, okay. So we also need to sit there and say wave plus plus, because that will start the new wave. What's going on is that it's resetting, and it's not really that it was bad, it's just that the wave wasn't increasing. So in other words, it was just respawning new zombies, and it wasn't really doing anything different, right? So I was freaking out over nothing, man. I'm sorry. I was just like, that's confusing, but that's good. It was working. I thought it wasn't working. All right, so let's just hit play again. And this time we want to make sure that the amount to spawn is going to increase every single time. So the first wave should be 5, then it should be 10, then it should be 15. Yeah, can't do math. So zombies to spawn, 15, there we go. Perfect. Not a moment of rest. All right, so that works perfectly. Now the last thing that we need to do is set up the damage for the character. Now this is quite simple. We just go over to the damage script, and we can adjust it here, or we can adjust it to what's the word I'm looking for? We could adjust it on the actual AI itself. So it really just depends. Now, if I'm correct, the damage script is set only for the AI right now because we're using the trigger on the object and not necessarily on the raycast. Yes, I'm right on that. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to do a little cheat, I guess you could say. And we're going to get our game manager, so void start. And we're going to basically go over to our game. Actually, no, you know what? We don't want to increase their damage. Yeah, we don't want to increase their damage. But what we do want to do is affect their stats. Yeah. So let's go over to our void start. And if not as player, so if not as player, then we're going to say game manager dot instance dot, let's do get health right here, and we're going to create a get wave. So let's see if wave is wave should be a private. Yes. All right, so let's create a public void called get, actually not even a void, let's create this as a public int called get wave, like so. And we want this to return our wave value, like so. Then we're going to come over to the stats, and we're going to say get wave right here. And we're going to then say health. So health is equal to health. Actually, let's create a... let's say max health. So this is our max health. Let's create a int called cur health, which is equal, yeah, let's do cur health, like so. And we're just gonna say cur health is equal to health. Goodness, I cannot spell. Is equal to game manager at instance.getWave multiplied by health, like so. Let's go ahead and change these to cur health, like that. Control C, Control V. All right, that should be fine. Okay, so now our health is going to increase based on the wave. And I personally don't like increasing it that much because that's going to be a problem, especially if it's, you know, 1 multiplied by 100 multiplied by 100 multiplied. That would be a problem, right? So let's go and start the initial wave with just 1 health. So then every single wave, no, let's do 2 health because 2 multiplied by 1 would be 2, 2 multiplied by 2 would be 4, 2 multiplied by 3, 6, 8, or 6, 12. Then it would be, yeah, whatever. So I think 2 should be fine. And if we need to adjust it later, we can. But I think that's fine. Okay, and everything should be working. Now, unfortunately, I'm probably not going to be able to test this too well because lag is such a pain in the neck. But, yeah, let's just drag this back up here. And let's just make sure that everything looks good. Boom. And then just drag this out like so. Hit play. And everything is perfect. Now I am still dealing 100 damage, so I'm going to be insta-killing these people. I need to really add a reticle. That'll probably be the next tutorial, guys, is adding a reticle inside here. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, check out some of my other videos. And if you have any questions regarding this video or any other videos, please leave a comment inside the comment section below and I'll be happy to get to you as soon as possible. Also, if you have any suggestions for this game or any other game that you want to be able to develop or have any questions regarding games in general, make sure to leave those inside the comment section below. I'll be happy to get to those as soon as possible. Alright, I'll see you guys later. Bye.